The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 442. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She's a classically trained chef, a holistic nutritionist, and she is also a health and wellness coach. So I'm really excited to have her on today and share her story with us on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Serena Poon. Serena, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to our listeners.
Oh, hi, I'm great. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you so much for inviting me and asking me to be on your podcast. So I am, as you've already said, a classically trained chef, and I am a holistic nutritionist. And my background, ironically, and it's not something that I talk about all the time, but I think it's important to know. I actually started off studying for law. Before I went to college, I was pre-law, political science. I'm Chinese, obviously, so I'm supposed to be the first lawyer in our family. And, first generation born here, both my parents grew up in Hong Kong. And my senior year in college, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, with liver cancer, and it was stage 4. So that journey is sort of what shifted my focus into what I do now and what I offer to my clients, which is just obviously health and wellness, healing from the inside out, preventative lifestyles to really live and enjoy your life to your fullest. And I do a lot of work with, some with doctors, people who have certain little ailments, whether they're big or small. It could be a skin thing, or even someone who is battling cancer. And I work with them to use food as medicine, to either help sort of relieve some of their symptoms or ailments. Sometimes you can even heal the body depending on what the condition is, or at the very minimal to provide comfort. Food is love and food is comfort. So that's basically what I do.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Oh, my favorite one that I actually share quite often, even if it's not in a place where we're talking about self-confidence, is no one is you, and that is your power. I mean, it's even something that I remind myself of when I have moments where I'm thinking, how can I do this? Or why do they want me to do this? Or am I good enough to do this? That's a quote that I remind myself of. It's a David Grohl quote. He's a part of the Foo Fighters. Not sure if you're a fan of the band, but that's who he's with.
Awesome. And, I like some of the Foo Fighters songs. I think he's a great music artist. And I think that's a great quote, especially with self-confidence, because, to be yourself, just to be your true self is, something that most people don't really do, right? A lot of people still kind of like hide behind a mask and.
Sure. And they try, I think a lot of us that we're trying to sort of fit a mold that either society creates or just a mold that we think is what will make others accept us. And it's just an important reminder that is what makes each of us powerful and unique, and why we can do everything and anything that we want to do is because there's no one else out there like you. Your uniqueness, that's your power.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I think this is a great quote that you shared. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
For me, it really truly is believing in yourself enough to trust yourself, your decisions, your intuition, your own energy, regardless of what situation you're in or what someone else's opinion is. Sometimes you can be in a, let's say you can be in a room, when you can be at a party, and sometimes there's maybe like an odd energy or something just kind of throws you off. Something as simple as that. You know what I'm talking about? And even in a situation as basic as that, in the past, or I've questioned myself, or sometimes people think people are looking at me. What's wrong with me? And there obviously isn't anything wrong with you. It's being able to sort of separate your energies from other energies. It's being able to trust your intuition. It's being able to make a decision regardless of what the decision is about. and know for certain that you're doing the right thing and not have other people's opinions cloud. Because I think that everything we know is inside us. The knowledge is inside us. We know what we want.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And yeah, when it comes to intuition, a lot of us feel like, maybe, what we think or what we feel might not be the right path when really, your intuition's giving you a sign to go out there and do it. Even though if it doesn't look like what you think it should look like, just go for it. You never know where it can lead you.
Yeah, and it could be in about anything. It could be about your career. It could be about your relationship. It could be about a car you're buying. I mean, it could be about anything. So often we second guess ourselves when really we always know what we want and we know what's right for us. We all have that inner compass, and having the confidence, the self-confidence to know that is always going to guide you in the right way. That's the most important thing. That is true self-confidence.
Awesome, and thanks for sharing that great definition. And Serena, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Oh, I was very insecure. I was insecure about everything we just talked about. I'd be insecure about my appearance, regardless of what anyone else said, if they're complimentary or not. I was insecure about my decisions, about sometimes the littlest things. And I know it sounds crazy. And half the time I'd feel like I was crazy in my head because I couldn't decide if I wanted, to wear black or white that day. And it's tough because you lose that compass inside you. There's no barometer for anything when you are constantly questioning yourself, and you're almost like a shell of yourself. You know what I mean? And you kind of know it. You know that you're not being all of you. And what it does is it creates a lot of fear and anxiety, and then you end up making decisions based on that fear of not being good enough, fear of failure, and just even the anxiety leading up to it. And so, if I have to be very honest, that's something that it's been, I'm in a different place now, but that was definitely a very long journey through life. And it's about learning about yourself and trusting yourself. But it's nice to know that's not where I am now. Even though every once in a while I absolutely question something that I may say, think, or do, but it's normal. It doesn't really have a hold over me the way it used to.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something we can all relate to, right? And, what was that point in your life when you realized, you didn't always have to second guess yourself, that you were more than enough to go out there and, do the things that you want, be the person that you are? What was that aha moment?
For me, that aha moment came, I had a series of surgeries, and so I had this medical issue. I had a series of surgeries for it, and the last surgery, I hemorrhaged post-op, and so it was very scary. I really almost died. I was so grateful, and I recovered. But being a chef, your physical health is just as important as your mental health and focus. And I wasn't able to use one of my arms, and almost not one side of my body, but one side of my upper body for several months. And I was in a place where, I thought I was panicking, obviously, a little bit about, okay, my career, my livelihood, this is what I do. I'm working physically with my hands on a regular basis, and also how that decreased my value, maybe as a person, definitely as a chef. And less than 6 months after this whole episode, I signed a massive contract with a huge client. And it was basically because I sort of shifted my focus. I was thinking, okay, well, if I can't do this the way I've been doing it, if I can't be as physical as I was before, what else can I do? And that's when I started focusing more on the consulting side and bring all the knowledge that I had, that I put into what I do with food. And I started doing it with consulting and curating, and that led me to sign this contract that I did all by myself. And for me, if you know me, negotiating is tough for me. It's just not really part of my personality. I create food for comfort and love, and that's what I'm all about. Not really hardcore negotiating. And I did it without going out and getting advice from, say, like a mentor or someone else that I thought knew more than I did. And it was successful. And that was just sort of this moment where it was like, I can do anything. I did this all by myself. I literally can do anything. I'm walking around. I can't even really use my left arm, and I've shifted my career, and I did this by myself, and it's a success. Therefore, I can do anything. And it just has continued to sort of launch from that place. And that was sort of my aha moment. And it came from a place where I really wasn't in the best place, which only sort of, it strengthened that moment that much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's a great story. Sometimes when people are at their lowest points, I always say there's no other way than to go up. And, you use what happened to you and realize, what else can I do, right? I can find another way to use my talents and my skills to create a career out of it, which you did. And it was actually a lot better than you realized. And, because of that moment, what's your life been like now?
Oh, I mean, I am absolutely grateful for every single day and every opportunity that comes my way. I'm grateful to be here, considering, what happened post-op. It was so scary, and I'm lucky to even be here. And I think that kind of shift in my mindset and that kind of gratitude continues to bring more into my life, and my business is grown so much, more in a way that I guess I want to say I've always kind of like dreamed, and I'm not quite there because I don't really see an end point. It just grows. I've met amazing people. I've grown a lot spiritually, which actually growing spiritually has actually grown my self-confidence, because as I've mentioned before, it's it comes from a place of self-love, whether or not you trust and believe in yourself and what's inside, and getting rid of all that fear and all that anxiety, knowing that, like, as you said, at a moment when you might feel, okay, everything is lost, why is this happening, I'm in a terrible place, to go from that moment and have an amazing opportunity and just take that and just grow it, it's been very empowering. And I've been able to sort of share that. I might not necessarily have shared this particular story with a lot of people, but I've shared my journey and I've shared that which I've learned, and it's been really rewarding to see it affect others and sort of give them maybe that little piece of hope, or just something, like an example of something that they can do that's helped them as well. So I guess I can say it's been a beautiful journey, and it's not without its ups and downs, but I really, truly appreciate every lesson along the way, because I know it's teaching me something. And it has. Every challenge has come up, even if in the moment I'm not understanding why, trusting that I will understand it at another point. That knowledge from that lesson does come back and serve me later. And that I can say 100%.
Thanks for sharing that. And, that's great that you're able to, have all these amazing opportunities, and, just the mindset shift, right? That's the biggest discovery, like learning that, life will throw things at you, right? Obstacles happen, but it's, how you bring yourself back up. That's what's the most important part of it. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in a similar journey of self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I think if and sometimes you can feel very alone, and it's taking a moment and thinking about who or what supports you around you. And I think having those energies around you really, really help, especially if you're in a place where you're struggling. It just helps to know that someone sees who you are and supports and, accepts everything about you. And there are times, as I've said, that you might feel like you're alone and there isn't anyone there. And it's just knowing that there are other people that have started the journey on their own, and it can start with you all by yourself. Telling yourself, affirming to yourself who you are, that there's no one there but you, and that is your power. That is so important, because self-confidence really comes from a place of self-love, and self-love comes from a place of your thoughts. So when you're not feeling confident, it's because you're telling yourself, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you're not this. I mean, I'm not saying for everybody, but that's in general, right? When someone isn't feeling confident, it's because you feel like you're lacking. Telling yourself that you're enough, telling yourself that you're everything that you need, even if it doesn't feel authentic, even if it feels like you're not even being honest with yourself, keep saying it. Keep saying it. Because those thoughts those thoughts are incredibly powerful. Those thoughts shape your life. Those thoughts tell you whether or not something can be real or not. So why tell yourself something can't? Tell yourself that something can be. Tell yourself that you can do anything.
Thanks for sharing those awesome tips. And, I truly believe that, just what you say to yourself is so important. And yeah, at first it's going to sound weird because you're not used to it, but the more you do it, the more you will start to believe in yourself and believe that what you're saying to yourself is true. So I really love that you mentioned that. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, I talk a lot about self-love on my social media. My Instagram is Chef Serena Poon. It's the same for Twitter. My website is serenaloves.com. It's currently under reconstruction, but it'll be up soon.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Serena, you can also head on over to thetowofselfconfidence.com and search for Serena's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I just really want to thank Serena for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Serena.
You're so welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
Not a problem. It was an honor having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Visit our website at thetowofselfconfidence.com to check out cool resources, blog articles, show recaps, and so much more. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.